And now, before the coffee break, Michal Rulik from Salesforce will show us how will the future of digital marketing without cookies look like. Michal, the stage is yours.
You. Now is the time to leave because I've got a um, good news and bad news for you at the beginning. So good news is that those chairs are ridiculously comfortable. So if I'm very boring, feel free to fall asleep. But if I'm really boring and you wanna leave, you will walk, walk of shame. So we will see you, and I will probably spot you and ask you why you're leaving. But that's just at the beginning. Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate your time. I know it's super late, so I'm trying to be as fast as possible. I can see here 45 minutes, but that's not right. It's gonna be definitely less. And this is the official name of the presentation, and we're gonna, so if you are from marketing, digital marketing, B2C, you are in the right place because that's my area. My name is Michal, I'm coming from Salesforce. I'm leading our B2C business across various regions. Adriatics is one of them. And I would like to give you some thoughts and point of view on basically we're calling cookieless future and overall how to basically talk to your customers now and in the near future. Because marketing has always been about building relationship, about building loyalty. And regardless of industry, the brands or the companies that they are able to provide you a transparent and let's say empathetic communication and create every moment interaction which you humanize and enjoyable. Those are the companies that you and me as a consumer would like to build a long-lasting relationship. But as technology evolves, and you're hearing here every day, technology is evolving. We, as a consumers, we are evolving as well, and we are much more demanding on the whole customer experience and basically on the companies that we are working with. And the biggest question is then, so how do you build relationships with a digital-first customer? And it's related with, let's say, the cookieless future as well, and we will get back to later on. I have no demos. I will not be clicking. It's really my thoughts, what I learned from our customers, from the successful company. So hopefully it will make you think, and after we can obviously talk later and dig deeper a bit into the topic. So how do you build the relationships with digital first customers? So I'm calling always $1 million question. And to build such a relationship, you need to really understand and be, let's say, on top of every single moment that customer has with you. And what is super important, and you can see it here, so if you are a marketer, so what we realized that actually almost 80% of all of the marketers, CMOs, digital marketers, they're saying that they are in front of the entire customer experience. But customer experience, a bit abstract word. I will be very honest with you, because if I ask 10 each person here, I think everyone will tell slightly something different what they mean by customer experience, let's say for their brand, for their company. But what we learn is that basically that all of those experiences are created through, let's say, individual journeys. And those journeys are a collection of those moments. And those moments and journeys, they are creating the customer experience. And what is even more interesting, that the moments are actually quite highly predictable. So you can really think, what am I do? And what you should do to react with me. So that's very important. And we learn that in order to be able to do a personalized marketing, so one-to-one marketing, there is probably the only way how to currently achieve it. And the whole concept is built on three main elements. So if you look at this one as an atom, so those elements are, you need to understand your audience. So who am I? Michal, you need to really understand what I am as a person. Action. So what am I doing? And the goal. So what do you want to achieve with the communication? And all of those, they actually creating the particular moment. So if you look a bit closer, and I put one example of what it can be, is basically that in order to achieve, let's say, similar example, you need to really change your mindset from product-centric marketing to something we calling either customer-centric or I call moment-centric oriented marketing. And yeah, the technology is super important and it helps you to map the process. But at the end of the day, the people are the ones, they are talking to you. And if I go back to, let's say, the evolution, me as a consumer, I know that data is everywhere, but I don't want to be in your database as 1 or 0. I really want to be known. I really want you to understand me, and you really working me as an individual. So this is the whole concept that almost every single brand company is trying to achieve currently. So it sounds nice, easy, but admittedly, it's much more difficult to do that, especially there are some changes in the industry as well. So here you can see, I'm calling choreographing the moment, right? So you need to, in order to react on the moments, you need a data. And it is not really an issue, but you've got a multiple types of data. And it starts from third-party data, second-party data, through your partners. You've got a first-party data, but you have a zero-party data. Maybe I'll quickly ask, like, have you heard the term zero-party data? Or it's the first time you're hearing it? No one is first time. Thank you. So, yeah, it's not a new term, but it's the term you will probably hear more and more often. Zero-party data is essentially that not that you're collecting from me, but I proactively giving you the data. So I'm telling you what I want, I'm telling you what I like, and I'm expecting that I will hear back exactly on those data. But what is happening now and what's going to happen in the future? That's called the cookieless, right? It's a big topic. Everyone is really talking about, but not really too many companies trying to do something about it. If we stop let's say the third party, a bit second party data, so what we're really talking about is the third party cookies. So as you probably know, maybe you've heard, the industry, and especially big players like Google, Apple, they trying to protect me as a consumer. So give me the rights that I will stop being tracked or to receive emails on my devices. So you probably know what it's third-party data, but maybe for someone who is not really familiar, that's the little piece of, let's say, script or code. When I go to some e-commerce website, I want to buy shoes, but I don't. I'm leaving, I go somewhere else. You can track me, and the shoes are displaying all the time, right? That's what most of the companies investing, advertising, retargeting. But Google will basically stop providing the third-party data. Safari is doing it again on the device. You can block that. And now the question is, okay, so I landed on your website. I didn't buy. You want to retarget me, but you can't really do that. So now the whole shift and focus in marketing is actually on the first and zero-party data. It's going to be crucial for your business. It's going to be crucial to have this moment-oriented marketing. And without that, it will be very difficult to succeed because it's going to cost you lots of money to attract me to a website, for instance, or it doesn't matter, mobile application, to your branch. It can be offline, online. And if you really don't know what I'm doing, what I'm interested in, and you are not collecting the data, and you don't start talking to me from the very beginning, I have a first touch, it will be a problem and the conversion will be, let's say, lower and lower. And we see really the brands starting thinking and applying this into their, let's say, marketing strategy. So yeah, here are I just put some examples basically in the future. And look, I know that Google is still a bit prolonging. It was supposed to be 2022, it will be a bit later. But it's not about if, it's just when. And we see that it's really happening. So those are some of the, let's say, I would say things or, let's say, functionalities that you might have an issue to do. Yes, they might be some aggregated, let's say, type of cookies you might work on, but it's just not gonna be same. So the answer for that, I already actually told you, like what the really successful brands and companies applying into their marketing is they trying to gain first-party data. Again, okay, Michal, that sounds great, but what it really means and how we can do that. It's super important to understand the data you're trying to acquire are not yours. And you need to really start giving your customers, consumers, some value in the data. And here are the three major things that when you think about this whole concept of first-party data, what you should really focus on. So the first, to really explain how you're gonna use the data I'm giving you. Because I'm okay to give you my data, I just need to understand what you're gonna do with it. That's the number one. The providing value, right? If I give you data, I wanna content which is relevant for me. So there needs to be some transparency about like what you're using and how data is used. And as I said, the data is not yours. It is really mine. You're just renting it. So you should really give me the ownership. So if I don't want to be no longer in your database, or maybe I want to change the preferences, or I don't really like to receiving whatever emails about new watches, so I should have really the ownership so I can change that. So those are the three elements, only looking, and let's say if you think about, okay, how we gonna approach the whole of the first-party data strategy. So how to continue in those we calling post-third-party data era. There is lots of brands, as I said, already working on it. We learning from them. We as a Salesforce learning from them. They're learning from us. And we're trying to really identify what are the, let's say, crucial pillars where to focus on. And we, so far, and across the industry, and what industry is working on, identify 5 major pillars. So customer data strategy, that's the one. To create single source of truth. So once you have a data, you need to understand the data. Personalization. You hear all the time, but it's so important that I think that, yeah, you can't just get enough. You need to understand how you're performing, so insight. And the last but not least, you don't need to give up on your advertising, but maybe you need to find other way how to do that. So maybe on the channels where you can work with your identified first-party, zero-party data customers. I will go very quickly through the pillars just to give you look and feel what it means. But I think we will share the deck so you can have a look. And again, we don't go into really technology details, just want to give you how we think and how you should actually start even before touching any technology, to be super honest. So create customer data strategy, again, what it means, as I said, you need to find a way that I will be very comfortable to give you my data. And yeah, it's simply, it's not that you will ask me, you know, big form, or I will be accepting all of the cookies. You need to create a strategy, and I think it was mentioned here before, progressing profiling, that you're gathering the data slowly as we're building, let's say, the trust and relationship on both sides, slowly and slowly. So more I'm engaging, I'm willing to give you my data. And you see there are some stats which I was trying to find for you, that as you can see that, yes, I'm really okay to share my data if I see the value in it. The second, the data, they are not static. So it's the moving pieces. I use the Marty McFly, Back to Future, love the movie because we're actually looking into the future. And you can see at the Marty, he might be customer in your contact center. You have some marketing profile, e-commerce profile, some legacy, history purchase, all of those. Oh my goodness, so what to do? So you need to create a single source of truth to understand that it is really Marty and what he is using. This is nothing really new, but again, it's super important that not only you can gather those data, historical behavior, as I said, and let's say the consent one, but after you can activate the data, you can segment, and you can create the audience, what I was talking about, those 3 elements. So this is for your audience. So when you have a single source of truth, you start with the personalization. You've got a data, you understand, you know who I am, and now you can do the personalization. You can't do really without the data. And I think I really love it. Consumers don't hate content. I am the great example. I don't really mind. I love it when I receive some really personalized notification, message, phone call. It really doesn't matter. It makes me feel good. I love it, and I feel more loyal to the brand. But we, and probably you as well, you hate content which is without a context. So I'll give you a quick example because I just received an email. It's really funny. I will not name the brand, but it's a retailer, so selling clothes, and I am part of their loyalty program. They know my name, gender, date of birth, all of the details. It's really there. I'm actually shopping there quite often. I'm going, I'm scanning the card, and I received an email with, "Dear Mrs. Rulik," so like a woman, "we would like to offer you dresses for a high school ball." You know what I mean, like with graduation. They've got all of the data that I remember. Like I couldn't believe it. So see, that's crazy. So you're given the data, you're there in the loyalty program, and they targeting you with completely nonsense promo, whatever it was supposed to be. Unscribe immediately. Like that's just like in 21st century, it's absolute nonsense. So again, and as you can see on the stats, just try to pay attention to those. So you see that only 32% of the executive across really the brands and companies we're talking sort of feel that they have an ability to use the data for the personalization. So it's very low percentage. People just simply still working on that. The pillar number 4, effective insight. What it really means. If you don't measure, you are not able to improve it. For marketing, nowadays, if you are a marketer, I guarantee you will be getting more and more money. So the budget will be floating to marketing. I know we've got a crisis, and we always painting here a bit that the world is not ideal. No, but you will be forefront of really your company and the customer experience, and the CEOs and all of the companies, they realize that. So they will need to talk to customers to, let's say, make the business up and running. But what is the worst thing happening? That you invest, but you don't know actually what's the return. And if you have more channels, more complicated communication, and you're really engaging with the customers across, let's say, multiple platform, online, offline, it's very difficult to say, okay, am I actually earning money or am I losing money? So you need to have a really good understanding and ability, almost in a real time, to optimize those campaigns and where you're gonna spend your money. So that's the effective insight. And for obviously the traditional advertisement, even now, it's super important. And the last one, as I said, there is still a way to advertise, because you can do that. You can still do advertising on the, let's say, identified known users. And maybe you should really start thinking how to apply into your strategy. So, just a bit why I'm talking about, and actually why AdriatiCON and Salesforce is standing here, right? Super important. As I said, it's about the people, but everything what I mentioned, you can't do without technology. Like, let's be super honest. And you need really good one in order to succeed and be competitive. So, how can you address it with Salesforce? Well, we're coming back to the moments. As I said, the moments is super important because we've got something which is called moment-oriented framework. And we identified, again, audience, action, goal. And you can see particular capabilities under each of everyone. Those are the 9 main ones we identified, and we think that is going to help you to achieve, let's say, those 3 main elements or pillars. So to create an audience, action on it, and have a, let's say, clear goal what you're doing with it. But funny enough, of course, when you talk to customers, yes, you can actually be good at 2, maybe 3, and that's what we realized. But your overall customer experience will be only as good as is the few or the remaining bad ones. So once again, you can be very good at 3 or 4, and you think that you make it happen, but the whole customer experience will be actually only as good as the bad ones. So you need to really think more holistically and try to cover every single one. And yes, you do have a lots of solution on the market, and you can probably do easily even like a you can have a great platform for audiences. Maybe you have a great tool for action the data. So let's say the execution. But again, it will be in siloed, and I really, really believe that the unique selling point of Salesforce is that we can address all of them. And that's only for marketing. So we've got a marketing platform which can address all of those pillars. And as you've probably heard today already, not only what we can do, because we've got the entire platform, we can connect the data from marketing to your customer care, sales, e-commerce, portal solution, and basically we're building the picture around your customer. That's the lady. She's not there just for a fun. What we're trying to demonstrate here in a circle, that we really try to build everything around your customer, because at the end of the day, you don't really matter. It's your consumer, your customer who really matters, and you should really think about. How we do that, very briefly, is that when we map it out, the solution is basically, we do have a Salesforce CDP, Customer Data Platform, which helps you to collect the data, unified, and build the audiences. So that's the pillar number one. Once you have the data, you need to start the execution. There is just some example of what you can do with the value segments with CDP. The action piece we do with engagement and personalization. Engagement is basically the journey orchestration. So this is the brain. This is where you put all of the channels communication all together from the one place. And personalization to help you to be, when I am reacting, let's say, with your brand, so real time. That's the personalization piece. It's called real-time interaction marketing currently. We're calling personalization. So that's the other pillar. So you've got a data with CDP. You can start orchestrating the journey to map the moments. That's the engagement. And you do the personalization across all of the channels. So it's really unified experience. And last but not least, as I said, if you don't measure, you can't really improve it, is the goal. So we do have a marketing intelligence. And it's really interesting piece, this one, because I think it's quite overlooked, but I think it's super important because we do have a platform which is built by marketers, so your peers who understands how difficult it is to connect all of the MarTech ecosystem, not only Salesforce, really across all of your platforms, programmatic advertising, whatever you're using, and really start to read the data and optimize. So that's the marketing intelligence, and that's the missing, let's say, piece, and let's say last bits to closing the infinite loop, because obviously once you understand the data, you're going back, you're optimizing the audiences. And look, to be honest, it's not a sprint, it's really a marathon, so it takes a time. So probably the last bits, I would say, and I think I'm missing the slide here, is that every company is on their journey. And I know that, I'm talking to probably hundreds of companies per year, and everyone wants to be, I want to be real time now. Well, it doesn't work like that. You need to really build a strong foundation. You can even start with one channel, but you need to start, because the worst thing is that you do nothing. And I think it was mentioned during the panel that you've got two types of companies. Either you're waiting, what's going to happen with the industry, and there are few they actually see it as an opportunity or trying to react on that. So obviously, if you wait, industry is changing, and you're getting slower and slower to the game. So this is the moment-oriented framework, or customer, let's say, centric, I would say, marketing, digital marketing, unpacked with our platform. So again, it's CDP, engagement, personalization, and intelligence. And you can build really strong framework based on the audience action goal and create those moments that will really matter, not really to you as well, but to me as your end consumer. And I think that's it. Yeah, thank you very much. I think we've got still 6 minutes, so I was faster, which is good. I can't really see because there are lights, so I don't know if you fall asleep or not. I hope not. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If I know the answer, I will try to do my best. And maybe if we have some Croatian colleagues, so they can translate, but I think, is there? Oh yeah, there is a So if you can ask Croatian, he will translate for me and we will translate back.
There are tons of questions, maybe too many.
Maybe
And
too many, yeah.
you're all welcome to talk to Michal during the break. It was a really great presentation. Thank you, Michal, for that.
Very welcome, my pleasure again. Thank you guys, and enjoy the rest of the day. Very long one.